Russell Gahagan here from Russell's Fishing Tech, coming back at you with another video. We're getting ready for the season. It seems like it's finally maybe here. It's early May, what has seemed to be the longest spring of my lifetime, and maybe the worst spring of my life, and probably for a lot of you around the Great Lakes area and maybe the Midwest region, probably the same way. I want to talk to you today about something really, really important. Maybe the most important, critical concept that I use and teach in salmon fishing and have been for a really long time. When I do salmon schools, I'll talk about this subject, and a lot of times I'll get guys to kind of look sideways at me and they're like, huh, this guy might be off his rocker. Well, maybe I am, but after people test this theory out, test this strategy out, they come quickly to realize that I'm right. This is a factual piece of information, and it can be extremely, extremely helpful to help you catch more fish on the Great Lakes. And what this concept or thought process is it's called a hot box. And I don't want anybody to get confused by a box that we sell on the Salmon Candy website called the hot box. You can use that box as a hot box, but that's not what I mean by the concept. What do I mean by a hot box? Well, I jumped on the Tiara 2900 today. This is my cousin's boat, and I wanted to do this. I wanted to jump on here and just, kind of on a random boat that I know, where I don't have this kind of pre-set up. I literally just drove down to the marina, jumped on here, and grabbed the hot box, which I fish on here from time to time and know that we have set up. So this is the Flasher hot box. Now we use this for spoons, we use it for flashers, coho, dodgers and flies, all that kind of stuff. Crankbaits, I even do it for crankbaits for walleye fishing. Anytime you're trolling, and particularly, you can utilize this hot box idea. But this is our Flasher fly hot box here on the Vendetta, here out of Sheboygan. And what this means is this box in particular was the box of our hottest stuff from last season. And we separate that stuff from the rest of the stuff. Why do we do that? Well, it's in my belief that once a lure catches a fish, it gets amino acids on that lure, and that scent and amino acids that soak into that bait make that bait what we call broken in or chewed up. It's really, really important that you get as many possible broken in and chewed up baits as you can. It's also really, really important that you separate those, and that's why we call it a hot box. So you should have a hot box for your flashers and flies. You should have a hot box for spoons. You should have a hot box for dodgers, and flies, dodgers, and spinning glows for lake trout. All of those above, you should have a separate box for the ones that have caught fish before and separate those out. So in this particular box here, just opening it up and taking a look, it looks like we had a white, UV black-eyed peas salmon candy flasher, a blue stud, which is no big surprise, Lucky Charm, which is no big surprise, Stud's green chin, which is no big surprise, green jeans, chrome, a Cryptotron, excuse me. Looks like a Nate's Dream scale and a Mountain Dew stud. White Two-Face. This is probably our hottest flasher in July and August last year. White Icon. Here's a Chrome Icon UV. Here's a Lance's Two-Face. And it looks like even a UV Hammer Time on the white blade. So all of those flashers are separated out and rigged up, ready to fly on them, ready to go in this particular box. Now, what I think is important is the fly itself, the actual skirt of the fly, to me doesn't matter that much. I will switch the flies on these particular flashers if I find that they're biting on something else. Like, for example, it looks like there's a Novocaine on this blue stud. If they don't want Novocaine and they want Mercy UV, I have no problem sliding that Novocaine off with our interchangeable fly system and sliding a Mercy UV on. Why is that? Well, what I really believe makes the difference on a flasher fly setup is actually the leader itself. The beads and the hook and the leader line is what I think is actually really important. That's what's going in the fish's mouth and absorbing those amino acids. Most of the time when you catch a fish on a flasher fly, the fly actually slides up the line anyways. So a lot of times that fly doesn't get a lot of that on there, so I don't get too married to the fly skirt itself. I get very married to the leader itself. And I don't break those up once I get one. So like this leader will always stay on this flasher until we don't have it anymore. Looking at this box, I have some memories now. I know we had a white green jeans that was hot. Must have broke that off at some point. I know we had a Studs Blue Chin that was hot. That must have broke off at some point. Those things do happen. So what's important is to understand that you need to separate all of your tackle that's caught fish before from the stuff that hasn't. That's really, really important. Now let's talk about the second part of that. How can you break in more tackle so that you can fill this box up with a bigger variety? This box is not filled up with a very big variety. My cousin Dave, if he watches this, I don't know if he does or not, but he needs to get some more flashers broken in before the Salmon Cup tournament coming up here in June out of Sheboygan. He's got about a month, probably a week or two of fishing prior to when we really get going with any kings around. He needs to get a few more flashers in here so he can program build like I've talked about in some of our other videos, and he needs to get a few more going here, and he will do that so he's got a little better selection. Now, what can you do to break in lures a little easier? Well, one of the things I like to do is whenever I'm going to break in a new lure, whether it be a spoon, a fly leader, a spinning glow like I said, a coho fly, a crankbait, whatever it may be, is I like to put it inside a fish's mouth that I've caught and I've got in the cooler on the boat. Rub that in the fish's mouth and then hang it on a rod holder and let it dry, preferably on a warm day out in the sun, so it dries and soaks in real well. It's not an end all. I mean, it's not guaranteed to automatically catch a bunch of fish immediately, but it does seem to help break in that, or help that break-in process go a little faster and a little smoother for you, and get some of that non-human scent off. Now, I have a lot of people ask me, well, do you like scents then? Do you put a lot of scents on? I don't. I don't put scents on. I think the best scent is the natural scent from the inside of the fish's mouth. I also don't wash my lures. I think it's really important once you get that scent on, you keep that on there. This is a really big secret that I had for many, many years that I've been talking about promoting now for quite a few years. My dad taught me this years and years ago. I mean, all the way back to when I was a kid. Kind of the old adage, if you walleye troll, you might know an old timer that might say, I got this one Fire Tiger crankbait that it just wiggles a little different than the rest of them. It always catches fish. It actually has nothing to do with the fact that it wiggles a little different. It probably doesn't wiggle different. And in theory, if you tune all your crankbaits correctly to run correctly, none of them should wiggle any different. So it really is that it's caught fish before, and the fish are picky enough that when they come into a spread of stuff, they will select out a bait that's caught fish before than they will a brand new one in the water. Now, one last thing, and this is a big mistake I think people make when they are fishing. If you want to break in some new baits, putting them out when the fishing is terrible is not a good idea. And that's what most guys do, right? They go to their hot box, they put their hot box out, fishing's not real good today, we're not catching much on our hot box, so we end up putting a bunch of new stuff out. You can't expect the new stuff to outproduce the hot box on a regular basis. Once in a great while, something like that might happen, but day in and day out, the hot box is going to outproduce the new stuff. So when do you get the new stuff out? You need to mix a few new items in when the fish are biting. When the fishing is really good and you're having one of them days where you're going to boat a double-digit catch, things are going well, pick out a rod or two and put a new item or two on there, especially if you got something that's really working. Like if you got a Cryptotron or a Blue Stud or a Green Jeans that's really working, take that off and put a new one on and try to get another one broken in. That way, like my cousin Dave's box here, he should have a couple of Cryptotrons, a couple of Megatrons, a couple of Green Jeans ready to go that have caught fish before. So in case he has that dreaded day where he snaps off his favorite one, he's already ready to go. So this is another tip from Russell's Fishing Tech. Don't be afraid to check out my website, russellsfishingtech.net. Otherwise, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. We still have a lot of viewers that aren't subscribed. I really, really would appreciate it if you subscribed. I got a goal to get to that 10,000 mark, and we're getting there. I'm getting closer and closer, but every day it'd be nice if more and more of you would subscribe. Got lots of videos coming, lots of on-the-water videos coming, but this was one of my biggest secrets. I hope you can get on the water and catch a bunch more fish. Good luck.